Hello, welcome to episode 4 of Real Talk. I'm excited today to have Joy Borman with me. Joy is the smiling coach, and I can verify that A, she is an exceptional coach, she is my coach, and also that she's very smiley, as you'll be able to see on this video. As you know, with Real Talk, this is not a scripted conversation, and I don't know where this is going to go, to be honest, so I'm very excited about it. Joy, before we get going, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Joy and I'm the smiling coach. The reason I'm the smiling coach is because when I was getting certified as a coach, somebody said to me, "Oh, now I don't know if you're aware, but you do smile a lot. You're going to have to watch that." And I thought, gosh, if people with my name being Joy and all my life being like, "Oh my gosh, you really suit your name. You've got a wonderful smile." I thought, "Do you know what? We're gonna claim it. We're gonna go with it. And if people don't like it, I'm probably not the person for them because there is a lot of smiling. There is a little bit of crying sometimes as well. Sometimes in coaching, but yeah, that's my vibe. That is it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, Joy, the sort of the one question that I'm going to ask you, and then again, this will go wherever it goes, is what's real for you right now? So this is real talk, and this is where we get into the actual reality of what's happening in the world right now. So, what is real for you right now? What are you seeing?
So, with permission, I'd like to start with a story of something happened a long time ago.
Of
I'm going
course.
to say it was 2010, and I was in the Tanzanian bush running a safari camp with the Swahili school. And we had people, NGO workers and then charity workers, and people coming over to Tanzania to stay with us in the camp at the Swahili school to find their sort of their language and their culture acclimation so that they could be effective, because people think they're going to be effective, but really until you understand the culture you're dealing with, sort of just a bit noisy, really,
Yeah.
unless you know what you're actually dealing with and who you're working with. So we had this wonderful doctor come with her twin daughters and her husband, and they were just fantastic people. And she'd obviously had quite a tricky day. She'd gone out on field work, and she was, you can tell, like her energy was like, oh, oh. And I'm like, "Are you all right, Caroline?" And she said, "Oh, they're just walking around ill." And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" They know they're ill, they know that they feel dreadful, but they won't do anything about it. So I started
Okay.
asking questions, and the way that people cook their veggies in Tanzania is long. Like, there's no such thing as stir fry. That does not happen in Tanzania.
Okay.
It is like maybe 4 to 6 hours by the fire. Like, vegetables do not have a lot of vitamin C left, and the iron has gone. And so this was she was like, "We know what will make them feel better, but they won't do it." And as I'd been in Tanzania for quite some time and knew Swahili pretty well and had a background in how to ask questions without people like getting the hump. How do you really gently ask a question so that people can tell you really what's going on? So I went to talk to a friend of mine and said, "So cooking, why do you do it this way? Could you cook quicker and faster but slower?" And she was like, "No, can you imagine my mother-in-law? She would be like, 'This woman is lazy.' Or my husband or my father-in-law, they'll be like, 'Oh, she's such a bad woman.'" And I'd like, "But even if it makes them well or makes you well, it's not, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. The way that I would go down in community as being lazy and bad essentially means I couldn't do it." And then I sort of "But for health, could you do something separately for you?" And it's like, "No, I just couldn't. I
It was
just couldn't do it.
impossible.
It'd be impossible, utterly impossible."
Wow.
So when I came back to the UK, so I had both pregnancies out in Tanzania, and I came back to the UK. And I don't think it would surprise you to know that the pace of life in Tanzania is quite different from the pace of life in the UK. And mothering in Tanzania, where I started my mothering journey, quite different to mothering in the UK. There was a lot more, I don't know, it's just a lot more options, a lot less judgment. Perhaps you can say that. So you could
Yeah.
say, like, that person over there, the way they do that thing is, spreading out a cloth on the floor, putting their baby on it. Other people tie them to their backs. Other people rock them like this. Other people put them in their bed, whatever. There was just a whole do what you think is right kind of
Yeah, yeah.
attitude to mothering. And people from all around the world were like, well, I don't know, this is what I do. This seems the right thing for me. But you crack on and do what you need to do. In the UK, it was very much like, there are a million ways to mess up your children. You're definitely going to do one of them. Like,
There's
it was
that
quite like, oh,
scary. It must be scary, like when you're hearing that.
yeah. So I came back to the UK with my babies. And then my friends were like, they'd arrive at my door and then they'd be like, oh, Joy, I'm so sorry that I'm late. I have this problem and I had to and I need to like whip on because actually I'm meant to be somewhere else when there's and I just thought, gosh, this is really stressful. Like, not for me, especially because I was still chilled, like I was like with baby and all the rest. But for my friends, they were hurtling through life, apologizing for not being able to be as present as they would like to be because they were late for something and having to do some task that's imagined, packing stuff in so that they could get everything done so that they could be all right. But they were exhausted. And to me, there's a long way round of answering this question. We're doing it here in the UK. We're living at a pace that is making us ill. But why don't we do anything about it? Why don't we slow right down? Oh, my mother-in-law would think, my husband would think I was lazy. My father-in-law would think, oh, she's not pulling her weight.
I think that's you're spot on, and I'm sitting there listening to you thinking, I'm thinking of conversations that I've had with Hetzel recently around time. I am obsessed with time, and I don't know where this come from, and I will feel so anxious if I'm going to be even a second late. Whereas Het's got a really sort of chilled attitude towards things. She's like, we'll control what we can control, and we can't do anything else about it. And even her saying that, I'm thinking, why? But why is that? And again, I'm reflecting back here on what you've said on, I guess, on my career, on my journey. Obviously, you know a lot about me now, and you're totally right. The pace that we work at. I had a chat with a guy called Chris on the last episode of Real Talk, and the question I asked him is, from like an organizational perspective, but now we're talking from a human perspective, is the way we do things conducive to optimal living our lives in a good way, we're not, are we?
No, no,
And do you
but we,
think
we
that's
worry.
sorry, go on.
We worry, don't we, that if we slow down, we'll get less done, that we'll somehow fall behind, that we won't hit our targets, that we'll be held to account for not making our goals. That's the worry. I think that's the belief. It's not what I find to be true.
No. So what do you find to be true in terms of how, in terms of hitting, I mean, goals as a separate conversation as
Yeah,
well. What even is a goal? What does that even mean? These things feel like they've plucked out of thin air,
yeah.
and that we have the media, we have everyone telling us we have to be this person, we have to act like this, we have to parent children like this. Who made that up as even as a thing anyway? Um, but what are you seeing in terms of people who are living a more chilled way, in a more chilled way, and are living with more joy and more play and things in their lives? What are you seeing in terms of how they then perform in life more generally?
So I think the sort of explanation and the data behind it is that when we're rested, we make better decisions than when we're stressed. Like, we are not in our best, most accomplished self when we're under stress. Like, we don't make good decisions when we're just trying to solve a problem or avoid a disaster. But when we're relaxed, you've probably seen it when you go on holiday and you just go, I don't know if I really want this, or what I really want is something else. It's no longer trying to solve a problem, but from a rested place, you ask yourself the question, what do I actually want? When you're replenished and you have all the resources you need and the clarity of thought to decide what you want, from that place of deciding what it is that you desire, you can make really good choices. But from a kind of like, crap, the whole world's going to end, Like you make a decision about how to not let the world end, which is
Yeah.
quite a different way of going about it. So, in actual real life terms, with people that I have worked with, I've seen some people that have been, and this is not the norm. They have been immobilized to avoid the stress of doing what they want. They will stick with the status quo to just, it's awful, but the best thing I can do is stick it out. Like, it's awful, it's dreadful, I'm unhappy, but I will stick it out. But when people get nourished and believe in themselves and have more confidence, and then stop worrying about what awful thing is going to happen, they say, well, the thing I've always wanted to do was, an art therapy master's. I've wanted to do that since I was 18, and now I'm 40. And they've enrolled in that. They also, that same person didn't want to, felt that relationships were not for them. They didn't think they were really lovable. And when they stopped with that mindset, they actually got themselves into a really nice, nourishing relationship. So from that place of calm, you can make things happen. Now she was slow, um, inactive, but then when she was resourced, then she can make some good choices. And most of the people that I'm working with are not inactive, and they're
Yeah.
not really on the status quo. Most of the people I work with are really high achieving, high capacity, have, maybe when they were younger, they could pull the all nighters, but they've got to a point in their life where pulling an all nighter to make it work is no longer a tenable strategy, because the capacity that they have now, as their lives have got fuller and fuller and the responsibility has got greater and greater, it's this energy. And I'm sort of doing a frantic wave. It's like how can I possibly
Yeah.
But then when you sort of come into like like a calm state, and then replenish, like with decent sleep, decent food, enough outside time, enough play, enough creativity, spirituality, a sense of self, then from there you can go, okay, this is why it's important, and we can get rid of that. That was never my dream. I just found myself, because I was capable, doing this thing because, as a woman who was capable, I felt I needed to, I had to.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things, and this will go out via video, and when people are watching it, they'll see you are you're in your body, and when you're touching your heart and things like that. And when we met, I'm not gonna lie, I went to an away day, and we had an embodiment workshop that was lined up that you were leading. I was terrified to even be in that situation because I was thinking, what is going to happen? Who is going to be around me? Are people going to look at me? I don't understand this.
Mm,
And genuinely, as I've told you, and I really do mean this, that was one of the most transformational experiences I've had. And I don't use that word often. In fact, I don't like the word, but I can't think of a different way to describe it, to be honest. And one of the things that you said in that workshop, and it will always stay with me, is that people live in their heads and not their bodies. And so I wonder if we can get into that a little bit, because you've talked a few times, and again, I know this because I spend every week with you, which is amazing for me, and it's changed my life. I think this being resourced, what does that mean? Because again, with this idea that we are living in our heads, this stress, everything is, we think all the time. So tell me about that, and also, what does being resourced even mean?
mm. It's quite a nice question. So, for me, the way that I was brought up, I don't think is wildly different from the way that many girls were brought up in this country, which was that if you can help someone, help them. And it doesn't hold into account how much resource you have for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got it to give it. So, um, what it means for me is when I'm okay, anything more than being okay, I can give from generosity. But
Yeah.
when I am below the level of okay, I'm giving from sacrifice. Now for me, I thought sacrifice was the same as love. I thought if you loved somebody, you would sacrifice. If you love your children, you will sacrifice. If you love your community, you will sacrifice. If you love your work, you will sacrifice. And what it really meant is just a really like depleted husk of a woman. Now, for me, sacrifice was never something that could be taken from me. Like, I've never not have a very strong sense of self and a strong backbone. But given the choice, I would be what I would have called generous in every
Okay.
opportunity. However, now in terms of being resource, I know that I somehow lose something of my mind if I don't have alone time. I just
Yeah.
need it. Like to be okay, I need it. I need to go away. I need to be able to think my own thoughts. And when I'm ready, in fact, I heard my husband say to the kids, like, just give her time. And when she's ready, she'll come out. That's the
Yeah.
best thing we can do. And it's not that I'm in a bad mood. It's not that I'm breaking. It's not that my battery charge is so low that I can't manage without it. I haven't got to snappy mum at that point. There's just a point where I need alone time. I just need it. I need to just lie on my back and just, consider the lilies for a bit. I just need it. So for
Yeah.
me, that's what I need to come back to being okay. I can find myself, without it, I can find myself quite overwhelmed by the number of thoughts whirring around my head. They all fire
Yeah.
like all at once. And um, so the question about being resourced, for me, it is whatever you need. And the whole thought when I was younger that I would have a need and prioritize myself seems very immorally wrong, like selfish. But I have found that when I live from resourced, that's when I can really be my best self. I can have the impact that I want to have and be the person that I want to be, rather than just like, oh, I can't believe you lost it at them again. Like I can't believe,
Yeah.
like doing the washing up, going, oh no, it's always me doing the washing up. Why are they playing and I'm doing the washing up? And then like seething inside, and they say, you're right, and I say, yeah, fine. I've just been cleaning all day. Like,
Yeah.
but I was doing that to myself, right? Like I'm in charge. I'm the grown up. Like I could leave it and go and play. Like that's an option. I didn't see it as an option. I thought it was just automatic, but it is an option. There is the choice. There is the choice to let your house go completely crackerjacks crazy. It's a choice.
I'm interested in this the choice, and also I want to pick up on something that you've just said because when I'm working with people in organisations and the way that I guess in the industry that I grew up in, the law, like, and I have a very different way of life now, particularly the last few months because of our work together. But this, I'm really interested in when you said I don't let my battery get to the depletion. So when the battery is becoming low, I think what happens with people is that, and it's just seems more generally, we don't tend to intervene. Like let's talk about our mental health, for example, until we tip into really poor mental health crisis situation. That's when we think, oh, I could do with some therapy, I could do with some coaching. Maybe I need to get outside more. But we don't tend to sort of think, okay, how can I keep the battery at a level which is optimal for me? What does that look like? And I think that's really interesting. And just going to what you said there about it being conditioned to us as children, I was, I had to go and make friends. If someone on the yard was on their own, the generous thing for me to do was to go and be their friend. It doesn't matter if I like them or not. I had to, that was the good, I was a good girl. That's what I was meant to do. And I think it's about, I guess, unlearning all these things that we've grown up with. And again, I love the way you talked about choice because often we think, and you're back to your story at the beginning about how vegetables were cooked, didn't seem to be a different option. It was like, I absolutely can't do this. And I think if we actually start to think about the options that we have to keep ourselves well, I think I talk about this from like an organizational perspective. How can you keep your team well so that you're not then getting into crisis mode and people are actually able to do the work they want to do in the best way. So I think yeah, I love what you're saying. I think it's so important. But I wonder though then why like, I can't think of many people I know who will properly resource themselves. And I used to have and I wonder if what your answer to this is. I used to ask a question which is what do you need? And I asked people to name three things. So for me, I need time outside. I know that I need that with the dogs preferably. I know I need to read. I enjoy that. And I know I need to journal. And if I don't do those things, I don't feel okay. Something feels off. What are your three things that you need?
Oh, I've got more than three.
Oh, go on.
And they're on the wall here. So, and they're slightly older than they need to be. I need creativity, probably about 3 hours a week. I need to honour myself and notice my internal compass before satisfying others. That does not come automatically to me. My first thought always is, how can I fix it for others? And so I have
Yep.
to draw back and go, it's what you're saying. My head says, do that, you can make that work. But maybe my body will say, you know, you don't have to, you don't need to. It's going to make you feel rotten. You're going to resent it afterwards, you know? You can get all that sort of wisdom there. But the one that I find quite fun, you know, time away from home, which I've got 2 hours twice a week, being nature friends. Our house is hard work.
Yeah.
I live in a hard work house, and I just need to get away from it, because I'm not thinking about it if I'm out of it, but if I'm in it, then I'm thinking about it. Like,
Yep.
I don't have that kind of like, ooh, like, so sometimes just getting out. Playfulness with Steve, games, joking and flirting. Steve's my husband, just in case you didn't know.
Just someone random called Steve. Have a little bit of a flirt with him. That's all right.
Yeah. So I've got all the things there's more than that. But those are the things that I know. Alone time. I spend time what I call marinading, which is powering up on good stuff. Right, so
Yeah.
the flavour is infused, right? Nobody needs a sort of tasteless version of me. Like, I want the good, juicy, delicious version of me to go out. So, yeah, I spend time to be my best self.
Yeah, and what I would do is anyone listening to this, I'd challenge you to stop now and think about what you need. What would be, let's if you start with three, if you haven't done it before. I think that's really interesting. Joy, I want to explore play.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the first things I ever said to you, was that there is a child in me that I love to play. I love games. I love anything to do with play, sport, anything that's fun or that's, probably lightly competitive or whatever it is, or just time playing games or anything like that. And one of the things I remember saying to you in the first conversation that we had is, I've lost myself a little bit. There's a part of me that needs to play. I know I need it. And that was one of the first homeworks that you set me. So I'm very good now at play. And what, as adults, we're not very good at it, are we? What's that about?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think that when people are their fullest self, they do want to play.
Yeah.
It's part of our aliveness, and I think, again, you know what you're saying, from like being alive to what's going on in your body compared with your head. You know, head will tell us one sort of data set, but our body can tell us what we really love. So I love to sea swim. I live on the Isle of Wight and I love sea swimming. And we've got a gorgeous little beach just here, just very much like a private little beach. And I go down there and people go, oh, are you training for something? No, I just love, I swim, like, I'm barely swimming, to be honest. I'm enjoying lolling about in the water. It's not really for exercise, it's just for the pleasure of it. I love the water going up my neck. I'm singing, I'm thinking my thoughts, I'm watching the birds. Like, I'm not achieving very much. I can pretend I'm exercising. I'm not. I'm just there for the sheer pleasure and play of
Yeah.
feeling alive and all the sensory stuff. I just I just love it, and I feel brilliant afterwards. And the same with dance. I dance not to be good. I dance just for the expression and the joy of that, making people laugh perhaps sometimes, but really it's just because it feels really great to express whatever you want to express with the music. And same with, like, you play piano, don't you? And
Yeah.
on the Isle of Wight there's a lot of elderly people, and I was in a choir, still in a choir, and one of the women, Rita, said to me, oh, we've all been down Pauline's room with bells. And I was like, what's going on in Pauline's front room? And we do handbells. And I've joined in, and it is just so much fun. So I've got a bell in each hand, and then at the correct point you're meant to ring the right bell with the correct bell in whatever hand. So I sometimes just sit down and then stand up, give it what I've got. It's the wrong bell, and then I chuckle to myself and sit down. Like, it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah,
Like, play
it's
doesn't
just enjoyable.
matter. Yeah, it's just for a good time. And I think, it's so good for us. It's good for our creativity. It's good for our sense of self. If you look at any children, they're playing, they're learning, they're challenging themselves. But I got asked the question: if you could do one thing and be good at it, what would you do? And I just thought it's a really crazy question, because why are you not doing it? And people,
Yeah,
I'd love to surf. Well, go and surf. Like, I'd love to play guitar. Well, play guitar. Like, we are amongst the richest people on the earth. Like, we should be able to have a bash at something without feeling that it matters. Like, we can do that,
yeah.
but that is a choice we can make.
I think the interesting thing you said there as well is about being, this need to be good at something. And again, what I remember running. We have this conversation. I don't know anyone that's happy when they're running. I don't, why can't we just walk in a leisurely way? That's better for me. But I remember thinking, but being this sort of, again, probably this is probably 20 years ago, to be honest, I'm thinking, oh, I'm not going to run because if I can't do a 5K, I've failed. So this idea of failing at things and not being the best at it, and again, I think that's the society we're in, isn't it? Where it's constantly who's best at that? How can we? And no wonder then we don't play because it's And I joined a football team couple of years ago now, and I used to play football when I was younger. I love it, and I was playing just for fun. It didn't matter if we won, we didn't win, and that was great. No, but everyone was at the same sort of level. We were all just having a kickabout on a Saturday, and it was just fun.
Yeah.
And that, again, I think we're all walking around with the little versions of ourselves inside, thinking, "Come on, it's not that serious, is it? I just want to play." And wouldn't it be great if we could all just let ourselves have that? And to your point, we can let ourselves have that, but we don't. Have you got any sort of thoughts as to why we don't? What is it
Mm.
that's sort of keeping us from expressing ourselves in the way that we could and that we maybe should?
I don't believe this is true, but I think people, this is the thing, the brain will tell you lies sometimes.
Yeah.
I think people believe it's indulgent, it's silly, it's frivolous, it's extravagant. For me, there's all reasons to do it.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
But I think when you're being very sensible and you think, gosh, I don't have any energy, I need to spend the energy that I do have on the washing up. No, like, you go out and play, then you'll have energy. You'll do the washing up without it even being a massive thing. You wouldn't even notice that you're doing it. Like, when you're fully alive, it's not a waste. I mean, it's all part of the positive spiral. So I think that people think that grown upping is about duty,
Yeah.
responsibility, effectiveness. This is all what we were taught. It doesn't have to be. It can be absolutely delicious. And and I think this is the fear, again, not true, that if you have frivolous fun, that you won't make money. But
Yeah.
it's just not true. It's just not, I've just seen it not to be true. When people make time for what they love, so I've got an example of a client who had two young kids, and she just loved pottering about in her greenhouse. It wasn't that big a deal, but to her, it just filled her cup to such an extent that when her highly stressful job, it all kicked off. She said that everybody was going absolutely to pot on this thing that was going wrong. And she was just like, we've got this. We've absolutely got this. And she got a promotion. But really,
Look,
she was just in that, oh,
well, look, I can sort of speak to that. Obviously, I run a business, and I think once I stopped being so in my head about it and started relaxing and making different decisions from a different place, work started flowing in more easily. So I'm I know that you wouldn't speak about our conversations, but that's exactly what has happened with us and approaching work from a. It's interesting because our business is called Heart Leadership, and it's only really now that we're actually living it from the heart and not in the head, and it feels amazing. It feels so different to how I thought we should do things. And been interesting for us in this year because people have said that's how you should do things. That's how you should run your business. This is how you should run an event. And someone said to me the other day because they were talking about culture camp, and they said, "Are you an event planner?" I was like, "No." You must be feeling really stressed about it. I was like, "I'm not." And they said, "Have you got all these things organised?" No, we've booked the venue and there's loads of people coming and it's going to be great. And that's that. But people have been saying to me, you must feel stressed, you must feel worried, and it's really interesting because I don't feel any of those things. I'm really excited actually, and again, it's the language people use towards us, and obviously what we use towards others. It's like people expect us to be stressed, and that is the expectation. If you're running a business, if you're running an event, if you're running a coaching business, whatever it is,
Mm,
the expectation is that this must feel really hard for you right now.
mm. Yeah,
No, actually, it doesn't.
yeah. And I see it as a trend. So
Yeah.
I tend not to, I purposely try not to be very sort of pokey pokey or judgy. But what I see, there you go, there you go, here we go. It's a little pokey pokey judgy. Um, LinkedIn full of people going, oh, I'm so burnt out. I need to, but it's actually a bit of a like I've worked so incredibly hard. I've put in so
Yeah,
much effort. I am
yeah,
legit. Look, or a justification of why they need to go on holiday, like a post about because when I come back I'll be better. Yeah, yeah, that's true. But you also don't need to like to me it feels like a justification of I'm so on it all the time.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you how I'm balancing the fact that I'm so on it all the time because I have worked hard. Like, so you understand that I have worked hard for this. Like, but it's all to me, it's all bull. It doesn't.
Well, yeah, of course
Why?
it is. It is, but then I guess I am with you in terms of some of these LinkedIn posts that we see and things like that. And LinkedIn is a strange little world, isn't it? But then on that though, we get praise for that. So like for example, when I lost my mum and went straight back into work, working relentlessly was my tool of grief because I was told that was the right thing to do. So I would get to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. I would get in before the partners came in, and I would leave probably around 7, 8. Now, I know that that was an unhealthy coping mechanism for me. However, the world told me, you're a good girl for doing that.
Mm,
I got a promotion. I got a pay rise. I won a citywide award. I then won a national award. And so all of the outside things are saying to me, you keep working at relentlessly. You keep making yourself feel that's a good girl. You should keep doing that. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you praise. We're going to give you accolades. We're going to give you more money. We're going to give you a title. It's amazing. And then when you burn out, I don't know what's going to happen then.
mm,
But so when people are putting these posts on LinkedIn, for example, people aren't commenting saying, "Oh, hang on, you should be looking after yourself." They're looking at them going, "Oh wow, this is amazing." And I don't look at people not like, and again, I'm recovering sort of in this way, as you know. But I don't look at people and think. I look at your life and think, yes, Joy's going rollerblading. That sounds cool. I mean, you don't want to see me on rollerblades. That's a different conversation for a different day. But I see the way you sort of show up and how you genuinely, your namesake, Joy, relaxed, chilled, and then that makes me feel the same way. And I think everyone could do with a bit more of that. And I guess on that then, if someone is listening to us now, right, and they're thinking, do you know what? This all makes so much sense. And maybe I want to start trying to live life in a less sort of relentless way, or maybe bring some play into my world, or think about what I need.
mm.
What are the things that you would say? What could people try? Where would you tell them to start?
So I think maybe if people maybe they don't need this wake up call, but if you were to look over the past 7 days and make a note of what you've done over the past 7 days, I did this, I did this, and then go over with a colouring pencil with a red, amber, green. So you colour in red, it was draining. Amber, it was just neutral. It neither filled me up nor depleted me. Or green, that was life giving. Loved that. Felt great after that. Just have a look at a classic 7 day and see what's in there. Now, I would say if there's a lot of red, try and get more green to balance it.
Yeah,
Like, so for me, I live as much green as I can. Like, I'm not trying really, like, I want to live twist of life, right?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. So I'm on the, there is, it should be 40% green. No, like it should be as much green as you can put in.
Yeah.
If you don't know what green is for you, then you just have to start experimenting. I had a client who was like, I have no idea what gives me life. I don't think I've ever asked that question. I've never noticed. I have only been on doing the right thing. And then I was like, babe, we just need to start. Like, what did you like doing when you were younger? Like, do you like the feeling of movement, or do you like the feeling of stillness? Like, she had never sat on a bench. She like, I love sitting on a bench. Like, if
Yeah,
I
on a
could sit on a
bench.
bench and watching dogs, right, on a bench.
Yeah.
Oh, how life giving is that? That's just
Yeah.
the best. Or sitting under a tree. Now, she doesn't like stillness, so it was bike rides, and for her, it's fast. Like, she likes fast. So, fast bike ride, but not with her children,
Just by yourself.
just by herself, just in her own headspace. So, she had no problem with her husband doing that, but her doing that felt very like, oh, I really should
Yeah.
have thought. So, that was a massive deal just to put that in. But little by little, she starts to go, I love that. I love wild swimming. She loved the wild swimming. And she liked the cold weather. I don't. But, she liked the something that's like a little bit more hardcore in terms of
Yeah.
scenery. Beautiful meals. Like, I took my mother axe throwing. She's old, but she's got plenty of warrioress in her. Axe throwing like a Viking. She loved it. Dad was like, you're going to have to get out there with a hammer and see if you can lift the thing, like just have a practice. But that's not the point.
No.
Mine is go, oh! Like, give it some. Does it matter if you hit the target? No. You pick it up and do it again. She loved it.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. I think that's such a good exercise for people to do, and I think it would be a wake up call, to be honest, for a lot of people thinking about, what am I actually doing? What is going on here? Why don't I do anything at all that's bringing me joy? And when I'm not, why do I then wonder why I'm feeling so rubbish and burnt out? And so I think I love that. One of the things that for anyone listening, and again, people who know me know that I am not big on bullshit. So I wouldn't recommend somebody without it being with my whole heart. I could not recommend working with you anymore. I think any more highly. I think you are genuinely phenomenal at what you do, and I'm seeing changes not just in my life but in my business as well, and just life more generally. So thank you so much. If anyone listening to this and has good sense and wants to work with you, how can they do that?
So my website is thesmilingcoach.net, and you'll be able to find a way to connect with me there, or through LinkedIn. I'm quite easy to find on LinkedIn, Joy Borman, the Smiling Coach. And what we would do is we'd just have a chat. And Gemma, you can testify to this. I'm not a very pressury kind of person.
No, not at all. No, but and I think that's part of the appeal, to be honest. Yeah, I think you working with the right people is really important to you as well. So I'm very lucky to be one of them. So, Joy, thank you so much for coming on Real Talk. When I wanted to create this series, you were one of the people that were at the top of my list to talk to. So, thank you so much. I feel like I've had a bit of a coaching session in this as well, actually, as well. So, thank you so much. And hopefully people will come and find you when they've listened. So,
Yeah,
thank you very much.
thank you.